tell that you got chocolate on my.
Hello?
Oh, our panel. We just started. The ones we did, we just started doing it like in today. This is August. So.
Test.
Who's that boyfriend? Yeah. Like that. When he first came to Ed, most probably most
Test
different.
rattle.
And
Hello?
There we go.
Test.
I have more people coming in.
I'm just gonna stand. In your case, you do what you want.
Next about the dance. Dance, Smokey, dance. Woo!
Dance while
We'll
speaking.
do the dance. They're about to answer questions.
Alright, how many of you guys actually do photography for a living? Hands? No. How many do it for a hobby?
A little bit.
A little bit for a hobby? Hobby? What kind of cameras are you guys working with right now? I mean,
Bass cameras.
cheap ass.
Cheap
Ooh,
ass.
I like those ones. I do. Actually, I've got a nice story in that one. You guys, what kind of cameras are you kind of working with? I mean, megapixel cameras?
Cameras.
Are you running off of higher than 5 megapixels? Or 5
I think
megapixels?
it's like a 3.2. I don't know.
3.2? Hello!
Oh, nice.
Mine's a 14.
You're 14? Nice. What you got?
A POS camera. Wait, where's mine?
Oh, wow.
Ooh, dang.
Where's mine?
That's.
Wait, where is it?
It's just taped and everything, and hers is even worse.
Mine's duct taped.
Well, you got a megapixel. That's actually pretty good.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, that's cool.
So that's a 12 megapixel, so
12 megapixel? Good. Alright.
we can feel.
Just to tell you, we are not actually the people who are running this panel. You know, like, the people that are running it, apparently they actually ran away. So,
They were scared.
they improvised and pulled us. In my case, I am Robert Susky. I've actually been a graphic designer. I'm actually a video editor as well. I have a Sony DSLR, which is a nice camera. I've got telephoto lenses for it, and it's a 14.2 megapixel camera. Trust me, if you can't take a shot with this thing, then you shouldn't be behind a camera. I am serious.
I'm Kenneth, and I am just a basic amateur photographer, though I do professional shots as well. No schooling, just natural self-taught. I use a
Yeah, I know those ones.
I use a Canon DSLR, the T2i. It's a very decent camera too. Use 2 different telephoto lenses so far. Pretty good camera, and it's good for anything.
Alright, is there any questions before we actually start this? Like, any questions at all?
What type of software do you use in video editing? Because I actually do video editing instead of like, I like photography, but I do a lot of video like
Video editing?
DMV-ish maybe.
I'll tell you this right now, video editing, I've used them all, basically. I've used Premiere Pro, Final Cut, actually I've gotten awards in Final Cut. I've used Avid, which is the high-end industry standard,
yeah.
and I had that on my laptop actually. Vegas is probably a good one to use if you're going for a cheaper version.
I have Vegas actually.
Vegas is good.
Yeah,
Use Vegas. It's worth it. As for pictures though, I'll say this right now, I've used other programs. Photoshop. Yes.
Really?
Photoshop is worth using. If you actually practice at it, which I actually literally will take photos and throw people into other photos just for practice. Just to do it. Just to see if I can actually do it. And it turns out good. Actually, I've got 2 if you guys want to see them later. I've got 2 on my phone that you can see and you wouldn't believe where I took the shots. So,
Photo manipulator.
yeah. Alright. Now, cosplay, cosplay photography 101. Now, the first thing you want to remember, when you're taking photos of people, location is always one of the best things to do. Now, like I was explaining to him earlier, if you want to take a picture of somebody and make it look great, it's good to have a location. Like for instance, if I'm taking a picture of Yoko, where do you want to take that picture? You think of the anime that you're that they're actually in. You want to take them and throw them in a rocky area. Now as for Link, where do you want to throw him? Forest. Exactly. You want to throw him in a nice forest area. Now unfortunately, That's also a bad situation too. When you go off into different locations, you're not going to be able to bring lights with you. If you can, that's great. If you can't, you got to get smart. Okay, you can take photography, say like you can take a photo of Link out in the forest. You can use the sunlight, you're going to get hit with clouds too. You want to make sure it's kind of a clear day. What I actually have learned from experience is to go out and get yourself something that's white. Instance, poster board. Get a white poster board and just reflect the light actually off of that onto him. You can get close enough to do it and all that, and trust me, it will actually look great. Hello.
On that note, another thing you can also use is, I know it's an oddball one, but white sheets. They actually will reflect light very well.
Yes, white sheets will do it too. I mean, it actually looked great, actually. I mean, I've seen some good ones with that
And
one.
plus, you can even use them for light filters too, if you want to filter the light out of them.
Yeah, and if you can, or like I said, if you can bring lights out there, it's great. If not, just go cheap and do it.
Use whatever attachment means.
Yeah. You can, as for flash and stuff like that, yes, you can use flashes too. You gotta be careful though with flashes.
Yeah, they can be dangerous sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes they can be good, sometimes they can be bad.
Now see, when you use a flash, you're basically taking a hard light and just shining it on the person. They're gonna stick out and your background's gonna look like crap, but they're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. That's awesome. Now, for instance, I've actually seen one photographer, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, he took his flash, faced it up, took a piece of cardboard, or you know, like they post-it, or not post-it, index cards, you know.
Yeah.
He took it, rubber banded to the light to reflect the light off of that as like a bounce board. That was ingenious. That right there cost him, I don't know, nickel?
Probably about a quarter.
Yeah, no, it's more like a nickel.
For a penny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's cheap, inexpensive, and it works. He actually got really good shots. I mean, it's just, you gotta think outside the box sometimes.
We have a question right there.
Yeah, you talked about using like post-board or sheet or whatever. Is that
Yes.
you're supposed to put it above them and reflect the light off? Or how
No, actually, better yet, it's actually better to do it below. Because what you want to do is reflect the sunlight back to the person.
Right now, about how far?
That depends on how much light you want to put on them.
Yeah, it depends on how much light you want to throw at them. It's good rule of thumb is that your digital camera can fit a lot of pictures on it. Play with it. Just take it and play at different distances. You'll actually see the light literally bounce off.
I was asking because I figured you didn't want that in the picture.
Yeah, it's sometimes you have to get close and personal too. Which I'm going to say this right now. If you think taking a picture of a person, you got to take the full picture. Don't worry about that. You can actually take headshots and stuff like that, and they'll still look great. If you have a little bit of background in the background, yeah, it's going to look great either
It
way.
may even make it look better.
Yeah, I mean, some people are afraid to get close and personal with the camera. Don't be. Because, you know, some of those close encounter pictures will actually be some of the most fabulous pictures you'll ever see.
Another thing on that note, if you have one of ours, a digital SLR, one thing I always recommend, take about 3 or 4 photos with different settings.
Yes.
You find one of those is going to look better than all the rest of them. That's how I always pick mine out.
Good example on that one. Who's here has been to NakaCon at all? You? Were you guys there last year? Okay. Were you last year? Okay. Did you go to the cosplay competition? Okay. You remember when they put up all those floodlights in that room and thought that they can actually people can actually take photos in that room? No. What they did is they flooded out a whole stage with floodlights. They're a low-end, yellow-grade light bulb that literally doesn't have that much light. People couldn't take pictures with Jack in that place. Now in my case, I had a high-end digital camera with a nice flash on it that I actually took, and since I couldn't pick up light myself, I used an actual manual focus. Now a lot of people are afraid to go switch into manual focus as they don't want to ruin the shot. In my case, the rule of thumb, get into manual focus, play with it, and zoom out as far as you can. Zoom out as far as you can. Focus it to what you think looks perfect, you know, like clear enough, and zoom back, you'll have the best freaking focus you will ever believe. I did that throughout that whole shoot, took photos throughout the whole thing, and I actually got compliments on actually getting those photos because people could not actually get those photos. I actually had one dad contact me and thank me for taking pictures of his kids because he couldn't get a photo. It was insane, but I made sure I took as many as I can. I think at that convention I took probably about 600 photos of people. 600. and I still had more room on my car. Yeah.
Oh, on that note, another thing as well. Might want to try angles. Angles can definitely change your lighting and make them look either more artistic or even more genuine.
Yeah, don't be afraid to tilt the camera too. I actually take and I'll tilt my camera just to get that nice look. And you'll sit there and see it in some of my shots where a person's like laying down like this. Sure, you can do a sideways shot, but if you tilt it just a little bit, it just gives it that artistic look. I mean, don't be afraid to turn the camera. I mean, it doesn't have to be low.
Yeah, because I've even done some where someone's like giving a nice little good angle like that, and I've gotten down on my knees and taken the shot like that, and it came out beautiful.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say right now though, I've taken so many good shots, and I'll say this right now, even with the low-end cameras. Now, for instance, I did not always have a nice Sony DSLR.
Yeah.
When I finally figured out that I got a really good eye for photography is when I went to Florida. I took a Kodak camera, film camera, and I started taking pictures of just backgrounds, of Disney World, Disney World and all that. And I straight up took landmarks as much as I can just to try to look at these shots. I got lucky, and Florida has some of the best sunshine down there, I'll say it right now. Best lit scenes I've ever seen. I actually took the photos, took shots, and it was vibrant, beautiful, and I actually took this one shot, and I'll swear to God, this is the best shot I ever took. I took a shot of the Lego figurines that they have down there in the little Legoland in Disney downtown. Now you sit there and look at these people, it looks like a bunch of tourists. Well, nobody was actually staring at them. They were staring in everybody else was staring in different directions. I'm not talking about the Lego people, I'm talking about the regular people. So when you look at them, they look like normal people in the photo, but when you look close, they are Legos.
Wow.
It was one of those unbelievable shots. I'm sitting here looking, it's like nobody's staring at me. I was like, oh my God, they look real.
I don't think I've had anything about that good, but
That was a fun shot. I couldn't believe I got that one. That was a once in a million shot. Which I'm gonna say, don't be afraid to take 1,000 shots. If you can't get it right the first time, take another one, take another one.
Yeah.
You ain't wasting nothing but a little bit of room on your card, seriously. You can delete them.
yeah, the only time you ever need to be afraid of taking limited shots would be like with a film camera. That'd be the only time.
Which I'll say right now, I've been afraid a few times, but you know what, I always bring a couple extra rolls if I was ever at anywhere. Say for instance, I was in Florida, I think I had 4 to 5 rolls with me, and I didn't waste them all. I just took the shot and went with it. I mean, why not?
I'd be afraid of doing
All right, so we got any questions so far? Any questions? Come on, pop them up. I know everybody's got a question.
Good camera to start out with if you're somewhat broke.
Somewhat broke?
that.
What's the budget?
$100 to $200 max.
$100 to $200 max. Actually, that's not broke.
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty
not
But
broke.
that's if you're saving up for months and months and months and months.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I can understand that one. Good thing is, if I was you, I did this too, actually, to get my nice DSLR. I talked to my family, I was like, you know, I don't want to eat Christmas presents, just buy me this and I'll be fine. I'm serious, I did it. I got a Sony DSLR, like I said, 14.2 megapixel. The sucker is, it was a great camera. I didn't need the lenses because, I Goodwill shop. I went out to Goodwill, found 3 lenses inside of an actual film camera. It was a photographer camera that somebody donated, and I found it for 25 bucks.
yeah, I know how that is.
You will find this stuff actually at Goodwill. You would be surprised. And you think the old lenses won't work? Yes, they will. These ones are actually older lenses. They were made in, I think, somewhere around 1990, 95, or between 1990 and 95. And I'm using them on a digital camera. They work. They still have the same hookups and everything. You just got to figure out which camera they go with. Now, there's lettering on them too, which you can find that on the side of the lenses. You can actually Google search it, and they'll tell you exactly which camera goes on it. So if you find lenses, Google it. Trust me, it's worth buying it. And before I say this now, lenses are one of the most important things for a camera. You can always buy yourself another camera, but the lenses are more expensive than the cameras.
Oh yeah. On that note, another thing is you can actually buy adapters for lenses to use on other cameras. So
Yeah, you can. You can. It's preferably rather not, but you can do it. If you find yourself I'm talking like the lens I found was this long. I'm talking long. The lens itself is worth about $300 something, and I found it in a $25 bag with
Talking
two
about this
lenses. It's something like that. Yes, something like that. And it was like, it's got, I'm talking like 85. Yeah, lens size of
That's
85.
right there.
So, anyways, as for the budget, definitely research cameras you want to actually want. Kodak has always been one of those cameras that everybody's always been around. Like Canon is actually taking the lead. Canon's taking the lead. Nikon is running with them actually, kind of. Sony's going behind. I'll say it right now. I've got a Sony. I have no problems with it. It's nice. It's a nice camera. So, any other questions?
Oh, on your Goodwill note, another thing you could also do is you might even find accessories for your lenses and camera.
Good actual notion on that one. That too, Walmart. Walmart right now has a dual pack, which comes with polarized adapters for the lenses, and then also with that, what's the other one that come with? The UV filter?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely buy those. If you're working outside and you're taking pictures outside, when you slap one of those on, your picture will come out clearer and come out more colorful.
Another thing on that UV filter, I always recommend having them on because that way if you ever see anything at your lens, it's going to crack the filter, not the lens.
True. You can actually scratch as much as you want on the filter. You put all the scratches you want on that, you just take it off and get you a new one. It's only costing you $5. You get a scratch on the lens, you're pretty much screwed. So
Also look on eBay too. You got some pretty good stuff on there. Like
yeah, definitely
this,
check.
like this sucker here, only $120.
Pull this sucker out. We want to see it.
All right.
I want to see it. I actually want to see it up close and personal. I saw you playing with it earlier. I didn't actually get a chance to see it.
I know, right?
Yeah. Now the one I have is actually meant for wildlife photography. This sucker is heavy, but when you sit there and play with it, it is. I'll have to show it to you sometime. But yeah, I mean, something like this, you can easily find these for cheap if you look around. Like I said, mine was the same size as this. It's got a bigger lens actually.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, mine's got a bigger lens. And you can find the stuff, like I said, at Goodwill, stuff like that. I mean, like I said, I found that bag for $25, and that was just one of those random finds. I find Canon cameras, the old film cameras, there with their lenses. You can take those lenses off and use them for a digital camera.
On that, pretty much any of the older ones will actually work on the newer ones. Just don't make the mistake of someone else did. Put an EFS on a film one, or else not coming off.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Another thing too, always protect your equipment. I would suggest actually buying a good film bag. I mean, I'll say it right now, and it's a good suggestion. Find something that you know for a fact, if you drop it or something like that, it ain't gonna break the lenses. Because yeah, you don't want to put a crack in one of these.
Oh, also look at the brands too. That's another thing as well. Some brands are good, some are not. That's actually a pretty decent brand. They're reasonable priced and they're pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Any questions?
What do you think are the best brands?
There's a lot of good brands out
I
there.
don't know.
I'll say it right now, I'm a freaking internet junkie. I'll sit online and read post after post of just what people posted up. There's a lot of people out there talking about honesty, other people just talking a lot of crap. You can tell when they talk honesty when they actually write a nice little paragraph of the pros and cons. If it doesn't have much in pros and has a lot of cons, I mean, I'm talking like if they have like basically 2 or 3 words in the pro and then a lot of con, they're talking crap. So it's better to read up on, trust me, because there's a lot of good brands out there, though. There's other people that'll sit there and say, this is a cheap brand, it's not worth getting. You know what? For a person who doesn't have that much money, it's a good brand. I'll say it right now.
And even so, even if the picture doesn't come out 100% good, you can still do a final edit to it on your computer as well.
Yeah, as long as it's in focus and you got a little bit of color in it, you can take it on Photoshop and do almost anything with it. I've done it a few times.
Well, see, I use 2 different software. It's professional. What was it? Professional design. I'm not sure. It's the one that came from like Canon.
Oh, okay.
It's the one that converts the. Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Image differences.
Ooh, yes.
I usually use the software that comes with my camera to convert them over to JPEG, and then use Photoshop from there. So they usually come out better doing that. But we'll get to that section here in about a minute.
Yeah, but otherwise, like I said, it doesn't cost much to make a good photo as long as you work around. I mean, like for instance, like I was saying, the scenery and stuff like that, if you can find a good area to take a photo, and you've got the right kind of lighting, I mean, not a cloudy day, though some people say cloudy days are also good days too, because you can change the f-stop.
Yeah.
F-stop. Good friend right there. Okay, anybody know what an f-stop is? No? Okay. F-stop is what allows the light to actually go into the lens, or the camera, for instance. If you have it, say, for instance, on this camera, or this lens right here, you got multiple f-stops on here.
Oh yeah.
Multiple f-stops, same on the camera. If you have it set at, was that 14, or no?
Depends on.
Let me see your camera. Let's see, for instance, one here.
It's the lens camera, but it doesn't have the filter on it.
Yeah, love that.
You'd have to
Okay, if you have it set on a low f-stop, it's going to allow more light. When you put it on a higher f-stop, it will actually lessen the light. So let's say if you have a shiny, bright sunny day and it's blowing out your picture, you have a person just literally, they're shining like the sun. You can set it on a higher f-stop to kill the light on that. So that way you can get a clear image. And it's better. If you say, for instance, you're taking a photo in the dark, you got candlelight, which by the way, don't try candlelight, you're not going to get a shot.
Oh, I beg to differ.
Well,
I've
it's
done
hard. It is hard to get a shot with candlelight. I'll say it right now. It is very hard. But if you got bare minimum lights, it's a lot of shadows, it's good to use a lower f-stop. 4 is probably the lowest you're probably ever going to get on there. It's like 4.2.
Yeah, it's 4.2, because that's what mine goes to.
Yeah, 4.2 is the lowest f-stop you'll ever get. 5.6 is what most people use for standard. So, but the lower the f-stop, the more light it's going to allow it. The higher the f-stop, less light. But it's man's best friend on that one.
There's also, you want to look at your ISO speeds and your apertures as well.
Yeah, it's good to check those out because, I mean, I'll let you explain this one because you know probably more about that than me.
Alright, on your ISOs, that's going to be your...
That's what I'm saying.
I work
Your
for... Yeah, go ahead.
Your ISO is basically your conversion, where it converts so much of the camera's power over into light onto the picture. The higher the ISO, the darker the picture. The higher the ISO, the lighter the picture. Say you go outside, use 100 ISO and use f-stop 6. You're gonna be pretty much just a big blot of light. If you use that maybe 500 ISO with the same settings, you can get maybe a darker picture, but you're going to see everything. So it's best to play around with those when you're taking pictures.
Play around with a camera. I'm going to say this right now. Play around. You'll find some settings you will not believe on a camera that it's just they have them on here. Like for instance, like I said, the manual focus. When I had no light at all with the floodlights, I had no light at all. I knew for a fact that I'm going to kill my battery if I leave it on autofocus because it's constantly focusing back and forth trying to find that light. It could not find that light. I played around with the camera, knocked off the autofocus and the manual focus, and saved my battery for most of the for most of that panel, or not panel, the cosplay competition. I actually had it until the very end until it died on me because I kept using the flash. That was that bad.
Yeah, my camera's hasn't even died yet. It's been on all 3 days now.
How many photos you got?
About 4,000.
Jesus Christ. He's picture happy.
Just a wee bit.
All right. Any questions so far?
Yeah, I took some pictures years ago in a low light situation. I didn't want to use flash. It was nice and warm lights, and then it was very low light.
Yes.
So I didn't like it, and so I took some pictures, and it came out very well focused and like that, but it had a lot of pixelated noise. And I tried to fix it with a brush and blur, and it was kind of blurry.
When you have that, it's very hard to fix them. I'll say this right now. I've stuck in Photoshop and tried to fix this stuff all the time. You can use the sharpening tool you want, but if the picture wasn't taken right the first time, it's going to be very hard to try to even get close to fixing it. Like we were saying, use filter lenses. The next time you actually take a shot like that, it'll kind of knock out that stuff. What was it? What would you use for that? Polarize? No. It would be.
I'd probably, well, I'm not really too strong on noise, because see, my camera's got the automatic, so I never worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of.
My problem was the noise. The filter will prevent that.
Some filters will. You
Yeah,
can't get
definitely
noise
research
reduction
filters because those two filters I mentioned are just the ones from Walmart. There's other filters out there. They actually have better filters out there. We just like pay cheap.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not too picky on it.